Welcome to the 15th episode of the XFL Insider Podcast. This is your host, Matthew. Just want to say welcome and hello to Mr. Aidan Burke. How you doing today, Aidan?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, Matthew, today. Ready to talk some XFL.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Glad you stopped by tonight. As always, if there's any kind of disconnection issues, man, and you got to jump back in, hop back in, and no worries. Same thing on my end. If something happens, I'll jump back in as soon as I can, just
That
in
sounds
case.
good.
Yes, sir. So, Aidan, I know you got a pretty interesting story, and I want to find out more about you as a person for sure.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing to me when I started talking to you and finding out, hey, who is this? I mean, you're still in high school. How old are you, man? If you don't mind sharing.
I am 16, but my birthday is actually next week, the 27th. So I'm going to be 17, going to be a senior in high school starting in September.
That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. From reading your works and seeing your socials, I would have never thought you were a young man. Just being honest with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job, man. Seriously. We'll ask more about you and as a person and you know what it entails being a content creator, especially a 16-year-old, almost 17-year-old content creator. Just amongst the XFL, it's very nichey, so it's pretty cool that you actually found your way in here and you're doing that at your age.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Got some
Good.
throat stuff going. So let's talk a little bit about XFL and then we'll come back to you. Does that sound good?
Sounds good, man.
So you write for XFL board as well, correct?
That is correct. Yep.
So who do you cover for that?
So this year, I joined XFL board, I think in January, and I asked Mark Nelson, who runs XFL board. I inquired about, joining, and he asked me if I could cover the Defenders. So that's the team I've been covering all year. Started the season preseason actually to through the championship, and I've continued to write articles about them. They've had these mini rights drafts that I've written about, some of the XFL to NFL guys who I'm sure we'll talk about. I've written about them. So yeah, I write for XFL board. Mainly cover the DC Defenders.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've got here. I'm going to pull up your website real quick. I've got some of your stuff. I always try to share some of everybody's work so everybody can see it at home. All right. So here's your page just with your overview of work. So that's your most recent article, and we will talk about that in just a second, man.
All right.
Just wanted to show off some of your work. As you can see, he's pretty active. So do you live close to DC? Is that why you cover DC?
Actually, coincidentally, he asked me first, cover the DC Defenders. I live in North Jersey, New Jersey. So about
Gotcha.
4-hour drive from DC. I haven't been to a game, but that's geographically, I think, without the New York Guardians, that's geographically the closest of the 8 teams right now. So yeah, I mean 4-hour drive. It's it's reachable. It's driving distance, but yeah, that's actually the closest team to me.
Yeah, I understand the driving distance thing. I drove to Houston for all the games.
Oh
It's
yeah.
about 5.5, 6 for
Oh
me, I
wow.
believe. So I understand, but once you can go, man, definitely go check it out because it was
Yeah.
a good time.
I'm hoping this year, I get my license. 4 hours isn't bad. I'll at least try to check out, one game. Seems like a lot of fun. Fans have a lot of fun at Audi Field.
Oh,
Great,
no doubt.
great atmosphere.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I haven't been, but a couple of the colleagues of mine went, and they said it was an awesome time. Even down on the field covering the game, not
For
much
sure.
like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, bro. Let's roll into some of the XFL to NFL players. Now,
Hmm.
as of about what, 2 hours ago, an hour
Yeah.
ago, I think we're at 58 total, 59. I need to change that.
I
So,
think, yeah, I think actually with Garrett McGinn, he signed from the Renegades. He signed. I think now we're at 59 total.
I'm going to change that. Yeah, and then even before, as I was making the notes for today, I think I was at 56, or I was at 55, and then you put 56, and then I put 58. Here we are,
Um,
59.
Actually, someone else told me this. I think actually the XFL is counting, contracts signed. I think there are a few guys who have signed multiple contracts. So I think it's 59 according to the XFL based on contracts signed, but based on individual players from XFL to NFL, I think it might only be 57 now
Gotcha.
with Gary McGinn signing. So yeah,
Gotcha.
57, 59, still a big number.
Yeah, I've got a press release here from XFL, I think from today or yesterday. I can't remember. I'm going to check. I'll pull it up. So this was the 18th, and they list 58 NFL contracts have been signed by XFL players since the offseason began on May 15th. In this, they were presenting
Contracts signed, I think.
Tomasi and Jordan Teamu, talking about both of them signing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty cool. I know others have tryouts, though, as well, and we're not going to
Oh
get into
yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
In terms of the tryout guys, before we talk about the XFL, the NFL, do you know of any that are significant?
I mean, I know Jacour Pearson. Pearson, he's got a bunch of tryouts. He
Oh,
was.
he's rolling now. He's with a team. He's with the Titans.
Yeah, yeah, he had a lot of tryouts. I was wondering why he hadn't signed yet. I think he had like 6 different tryouts, but
Yep.
I'm glad he finally got an opportunity. A lot of people said it's because of his height, but he balled out with the Sea Dragons, and I'm glad he finally has a team. But some other guys, I think let's see, who are some other guys? I think
Oh, you're talking about Pearson. My bad. I was talking about Patrick. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Yep, you're right.
oh yeah,
So
sorry.
he actually did sign with a team.
Pearson.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, is he on a team?
I
I don't.
tried to research it daily almost because I've been
Let's
waiting
see.
for him to go, man.
I know he's got a ton of tryouts. Um,
Mm-mm.
Pearson, I think. I don't think he's actually on the team. He's got a ton of tryouts. Tryouts. You think the way he performed in the XFL, he would be on an NFL roster, but I actually don't think he's gotten an opportunity, or has he?
Man, I haven't found anything official myself either. And then when you look at the XFL to NFL stuff from their
Not on there,
website,
right?
no, it's not on
Yeah,
there.
he's
And
not
even
there.
we're still
Yeah, yeah.
missing the most recent names from
Yeah,
from you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, Pearson. I mean, not on the team, but definitely deserves a shot. I mean, he did great with the Sea Dragons.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And I know he's a little shorter, but in terms of
Yeah.
play, dude's a stud.
Yep.
I'd hate to see him back in the XFL next year, but I'd love to at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same thing with a lot of these players. I mean, defenders, they're at, I think, 8 guys. Eight of their, some of their best guys are in the NFL. You'd hate to see them gone. Because DC was a championship caliber team. But glad to see him, succeeding at the next level, which is what the XFL is all about. So it's a win-win situation, I guess.
No doubt, no doubt. Had a fan, that's Mike. Mike's the editor in chief. He's saying, "Who do you expect to sign next? Do you have anybody on your list?"
Who do I expect to sign next? I mean, there are a lot of guys. Another guy, Jordan Williams. He hasn't signed. Not
Ooh.
to my knowledge. He was the XFL tackling leader. He was Brahmas were a great defense. Um, Delonte Scott recently signed, but Brahmas didn't have the best record, but Jordan Williams was a great piece on that Brahmas defense, and the Brahmas defense was actually good. They didn't have the best offense, but the Brahmas, um, I think Jordan Williams, the linebacker, I think he definitely. I'm not saying he's going to sign next, but I think he's one of the guys who deserves a shot. Along with Jacor Pearson,
Yep.
some other guys I can't think of off the top of my head right now,
Oh, you're
but
good, man.
definitely a lot of guys, who I think still are in the XFL who deserve some shots. Let's see.
Yeah, and I
Um,
figured we're going to see a lot of these guys come back our way.
yeah,
I mean, like I told you before we started, if a fourth of them continue their NFL careers, that's
yeah,
good.
that'd be considered a win. Let's see. Oh, AJ McCarron. I mean, he did great, but he said, he chose the XFL over the NFL because he'd rather actually be playing than being on the sidelines with the clipboard in the NFL. Um, some other guys. I mean, Keem Butler's on the Steelers. I mean, he's been doing a great job. Great things at a camp for him. Cody Latimer, a little older. He's not on an NFL team. I think he certainly deserves a shot. It's been a while. He did a great job with the Guardians. Just an endless list, really.
No,
A
I
lot of
understand.
guys. A lot
I
of
didn't know if you
guys.
had any favorites among your end. I know I did. And my guys are gone now. I was
I'd
kind of
say,
watching.
yeah, I had a defend. I mean, I was Jordan Tayamu's shot long overdue, but now it's really got to be Jacor Pearson. I think he really deserves a shot. He's gotten a bunch of tryouts, but he hasn't signed just yet.
Understood. Understood. Let's get on to talk about Jordan. I know
Yeah,
this. You probably have a lot of info or a lot to say about him. So go ahead, share
yeah,
your article here. I know you just wrote an article about him signing. So I mean, the floor is yours. Take it as you see best.
yeah. So Tayamu, I mean, great season with the defenders. Sorry, offensive player of the year. Led them to a 9-1 record. I mean, their offense, really um, was on fire through like last 5 games of the season. Even the championship, they put up 26 points against the Renegades. Unfortunately, they got outscored there, but he had a really great season. I mean, 9-1 regular season record. As I said, I think he was third in both passing touchdowns and passing yardage. He was, I think, second behind Ben DiNucci, who's also in the NFL, second behind Ben DiNucci, I think, in rushing yardage and rushing touchdowns. But, the defenders also had Derek King, who, took a lot of the
Yep.
QB scrambling duties. But, yeah, Tayami, yeah, he says almost 2,000 yards. I mean, long overdue. He was with the Bandits last year. Um, USFL Tampa Bay Bandits. I didn't do good as many expected. Didn't get a shot in the NFL, but I'm glad he avenged himself, and he had a great season. It's unfortunate because I think he tried out with the Vikings. I think 2 months ago. So it's unfortunate that he's going to sign this late because I really think that puts him at a disadvantage in terms of his roster spot because he's obviously joining the team this league. He's got one more preseason game left to prove himself. I think this Saturday against the Cardinals, I assume he'd see action. But they got Jaron Hall and Nick Mullins. I think those are the two backups to Kirk Cousins on the Vikings. So I think it's gonna be an uphill battle. But I'm glad he's at least getting a shot. I think he could definitely he has a shot to make the practice squad. Uh, but I think coming in this late, it's definitely going to be a little tough for Jordan. But he's a great player. He's a great player. Did great with the Bad Hawks too in 2020 before the season got shut down, unfortunately. But
Yep. Yep.
he's had shots too. But I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, that was my guy back when we did the XFL 2.0 and met him a couple times.
Oh really?
Big fan. Yeah. It's a little different now that I come in through media and do stuff a little different. But back in the XFL 2.0, I was a fanboy. So, yeah, I'm happy he's going somewhere. I know when he played at the USFL, he did pretty good, right? He had a good year
Um,
there.
yeah, I mean he
He just didn't
so
get picked up.
yeah, I know. I was a little surprised. I mean, his team, the Bandits, I think they went 4-6, which they didn't make the playoffs. I think that was like fifth or sixth in the entire league out of 8 teams. But yeah, I think he led the league in passing yardage and passing touchdowns. I think over 2,000, which is actually better
Yeah,
than
you're
um
correct. You're correct.
than he
That's
did in the
correct.
defenders. But I think he also threw. I think he threw 12 or 13 picks, which was a league high. So that also, a little careless with the ball there. I think that might have cost his team, cost his opportunities in the NFL, because the NFL carries you. You got to be careful with the football. But I'm glad he's finally getting a shot. But yeah, he did do good with the Bandits. But I think definitely this year, his team and I think really he looked better with the defenders, and Fred Keiss's more, I guess, college system than Todd Haley's pro system. And some players, I guess, succeed more in different systems. So I think totally different systems that we're talking about here, and I think Tayamu did happen to do better in Fred Keiss's offensive scheme this year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, he had 300 yards and 3 rushing TDs. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, I think something like that. I think, yeah, something like
And
that.
he was pretty consistent throughout the season as well. As you
Oh yeah,
watched him, and it was a lot of feet moving. I know they did a little switch between quarterback and such,
yeah,
but it was pretty consistent play, except for that championship game. It was a little different.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
they had a rough first half. I think they got down. They got down 14-0. I think, right. I think their first two drives they went three and out, but I think second half he definitely picked it up a
yeah, he did. He
little bit
did. And
too.
go ahead. I'm
Sorry.
sorry. Go ahead. I apologize. I'm not trying to interrupt you. Go ahead.
You're good. But I think second half, they did pick it up as you said, but a little bit of too little, too late there. I mean, they scored 26 points, but defense struggled a little bit, and then they got outscored by the Renegades in the biggest game of the season. So kind of unfortunate situation for the defenders, but it happens. That's why you got to be consistent throughout the entire season.
Yes, sir. You're not lying. Yeah, I know. Judging from the play, the O line play in DC was awesome
Oh yeah, that was
most of the
great,
season,
great.
except for the last game. Also,
Hmm.
it was a
I think he
little
got sacked.
choppy.
I think he got sacked like 3 times, which is I think season high. But yeah,
Yeah,
old line play struggled. I don't think the rushing game got going too much either. I think Abram Smith.
agreed.
I I don't know if I recall correctly. So it's so many. I mean, May. It's like 2 months ago, 3 months ago. So, but I think they definitely struggled. I mean, the defense. Really, the thing is, the defense had been struggling. I noticed that. I mean, you saw it in the loss versus the Guardians, the loss, which is worst team record wise in the XFL, 1-9. There's only win for the Guardians came against the 9-1 defenders. So I found that kind of ironic. But you saw that it scored 37, allowed 37 points against the Guardians. I think they the Renegades even. I think the Renegades when they played them in the regular season, they were locking them down through the first half, and then I think Renegades went on like an 18-0 run in the second half and made it a ball game. But defenders pulled out there. But I do remember their defenders defense did struggle, in that latter in those latter stages. But so it's kind of inevitable that the defense would cost them a game, and unfortunately, it came in the championship game where the offense also didn't play so great.
Agreed. Yeah, like I said, I was a fan, so it was kind of disappointing. But then again, it's hard to put up those numbers consistently all season without there being
Yeah,
some issues, no doubt.
yeah,
So I had some
yeah.
comments from some guys I'm going to throw up.
All right.
DeMarcus is one of the contributors here with us at the podcast. He said it was a good move for the XFL to have 2-year deals with these players. Them getting guys in the NFL is great, but building name recognition on teams helps the league at the same time. I mean, I agree with that, but the whole thing about it is they're here to develop and move on.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we can't really hold on to them too much. With that, we got to look at how many will come back, and that's most, if not all. I mean, and then again, we got these huge rosters to fill for the XFL.
Oh yeah.
those get cut down again come season. Then we're going to be looking at half the numbers there. So it's going to be, we're going to have the skill, no doubt. I think the league's going to have plenty of skill, and they're going to be able to pick. Whereas before, we were kind of just taking what we could get. What do you think about that comment?
Yeah, I think XFL is going to be great when it comes to talent. I mean, they got a lot of great rookies, and they're seemingly winning the recruiting battle over the opponent XFL. I don't want to take sides here, but one guy who's Lindsey Scott. He great job at Incarnate Word, quarterback of Incarnate Word. He was a great quarterback, and he was drafted by both XFL and USFL, but recently came out that he's chosen to join the XFL Roughnecks over the USFL. So yeah, I mean, I think some of the talent I think is going to get diluted, but I think 90-man rosters, great. That's a great choice. That's a great thing for the XFL, because come training camp they have options as to who they're going to have on their teams, and I think circling back to getting that name recognition, I think it's very important that the league does that. So I think that they're doing a good job with that by having 90-man rosters, off-season rosters.
Understood. So I got some comments from Michael. What's up, Michael? How are you doing, man? He said, good evening. My stream is running slow today for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
Internet?
Yeah. I don't know if it's the internet. Sometimes the stream just doesn't, it has some quirks to it. But I'm getting about a 4-second delay on pressing things.
Oh, okay.
So here, let me try him again, see if this one. So he said, good evening. And he said, looks like there's going to be a 30 to 45% of player turnover from season to season. Yeah. I can see that being very accurate.
Seems accurate. Yeah. It's going to happen. But I think really as the league, hopefully evolves and goes, becomes more experienced. We see year 2, year 3 as XFL. Hopefully that number kind of goes down a little bit, because, players are, I guess we get more name recognition. We get more players, staying in the league. Hopefully we see that number go down. But yeah, it's going to be high. I think player turnover from year to year is going to be high.
Yeah, we got some more comments here. This is from the Mad Chatter. He says XFL needs to invest and pay some well-known QBs, and I like that idea, but I don't like the concept unless it made sense.
Yeah.
I don't want 2 guys to be paid higher unless we're building whole teams and such around them.
Yeah, I think they really have to wait for that. They're as The Rock says, they're in it for the long haul. So I think really it's about a slow build up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then he said, try to hit these comments as we go. XFL is the premier destination for players on the cusp. They will even grab CFL. So, I mean, I agree with that too, Mad Chatter. As I said before, and people don't like it, developmental league is for development. And that means working on skills, getting game plans, getting game films, learning how to become an adequate player, professional player. So agreed. I know from what I understand, talking to a lot of these guys, person to person or on the phone, just getting the reps on film is huge for them. Getting some game time where they're actually in the game. What do you think there, Aidan?
No, yeah, I totally agree. I think that's a reason why a lot of these guys actually go to these spring leagues. Get tape because a lot of these scouts, a lot of these I guess GMs and in the NFL like to see tape. They like to see players fresh. I think coming off season in the spring definitely gives them the advantage over guys who didn't play in the spring because they're fresh. They have fresh tape, I guess. So yeah, 100% what you said. Agreed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let me take this comment off. This computer software is running so slow. Come on, man. All right, let's move forward. Talk about more players. So I highlighted 3 more. Man, I'm sorry I keep coughing. I highlighted 3 more players. We got D lineman Tomasi Lalule
Mm-hmm.
he went to San Francisco. He's a D lineman. We'll talk about more. We'll get a brief overview of each in a minute, but I'm going to present these three names. Then we have running back Jaquise Patrick. He went to the Titans. And then we have D lineman Delonte Scott. He went to the Atlanta Falcons. All three of these men have the opportunity to play here, in my opinion. Hopefully they show up and ready to show out. Talking about, so let's just move down the list. Tomase, this do you know? Are you familiar with him?
Actually, I looked at his stats. I think he had something like he I think he was a starter for the Renegades, but yeah, he was a good key contributor on their D line there. But
Yep.
I remember I think one of the games, I think it might have been against, I think it was an opener against the Vipers. I think he had a pick six
Yep.
on Luis Perez there. So you know that I kind of remember that name. But yeah, Tomas, glad he's getting the opportunity representing the XFL. You know, unfortunately, you know, coming a little late here. You know, we're currently in week 2 of the NFL preseason, but you know, hopefully he gets a chance next week, final week to prove himself.
Yep. That's what.
Yeah.
Looking at his stats, you know, he doesn't have too much on stats in terms
Yeah.
of actual numbers. But
Mm-hmm.
I remember that play when I was looking at the list, and it was ironic. It was from Luis Perez. They were playing the Vipers.
Oh yeah.
Perez threw a pass, and dude just straight caught it off the line and took off and ran a pick six. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but that was
And I
probably
think
his best play of the season.
yeah, I think that was actually the turning point of the game because the Vipers are winning. I think 14-3 or something, and then you know the Renegades ended up winning that game. But I
Yep.
think that pick six was a turning point for the Renegades there. So
Yes,
kind of
sir.
cool there.
Yeah, he had played for the 49ers before. And the previous year, he had gotten signed. I think he got released after camp. So, I mean, it's curious that they picked him back up. I guess they really do have some uses for him. And
I think yeah, a lot of these pickups late in training camp. You said he played on the 49ers. I think you know injuries, wear and tear. I think you know maybe they need training camp bodies, and you know I guess he knows the playbook. You said he was on the
exactly.
49ers before, so you know maybe you know they're dealing with you know injuries or setbacks. You know that's what a lot of these teams do. Go out and get some of the guys who know the play, know the system. You know who are on the team before, and you know who could make an immediate impact or you know in whatever job they need to do for the team.
Yes, sir. Love to see it. I'll say that.
Yep.
Let's move on. Anything else on him before I move
Yeah.
on?
Mark said Laali. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Laali sacked Teamu in the XFL championship.
Got you. Oh, there you go. Here you go, Mark. There's some comments. Forget to look, guys.
Yep.
Memories.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Let's move on. Next up, let's work our way to Jaquise.
Jack Hughes. Yeah, he was one of the first guys I think who signed. I remember I think I think May 15th was the day that XFL guys were allowed to you know sign with NFL teams, and I think Jaquise was one of the first guys to do so. He signed with the Broncos originally, though. I think he was there for I think a month, and unfortunately, he got released. But you know he did good. I think he was second in rushing yardage league wide there. He was with the Tampa Bay Vipers back in 2020. I think he was a top rusher there.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm glad to see him getting another shot. He got cut by the Broncos I think earlier in training camp. But you know, glad to see him getting picked up by the Titans. Give him a shot.
Yeah, I'm happy for him as well. It took him a little while to get on the board in terms of people actually watching him and respecting him as a player.
Oh yeah.
But once he got his shot, man, he took off. He was a very, very impactful player for that Brahmas offense.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yep. He was fun to watch, and you know, he was. I remember watching him, you know, back in 2020 with the Tampa Bay Vipers. You know, Vipers weren't very great back in 2020, but he was one of the bright spots, man. I remember they just keep giving him the ball, and he'd break off for 4 or 5 yards of carry, and he'd do some good stuff.
So Mike said Patrick signed a 2-year deal.
Oh wow, yeah, good, great for him. Great for him. He certainly deserves it.
Agreed. And I got some other Brahmas fans jumping in. What's up, Jackie?
on the podcast. Yeah, glad to see him get another shot.
Me too. Me too. Super good, and I think they're in the Titans, even though they need a lot more players. He'll be a good addition there. And
Yeah,
I bet he'll
yeah,
get some action. He won't be a main piece, but he'll definitely
yeah.
be involved and be some action.
Eric here said you'll be a solid backup for Henry. That's right. I mean, I don't think there's any overcoming Derrick Henry on the depth chart, but I think you could great second. You could be a great second stringer.
For sure, for sure. And it's just one injury away from kicking
Yeah,
butt
you're
and
right.
taking names, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing about the Titans. I like the Titans myself. They were probably my second team, but they need some O linemen bad, real bad, real bad.
Mm.
All right, let's move on to the last guy we're going to talk about, and that is, where'd he go? There he is. Delonte Scott.
Devontae Scott, D lineman. I mean, as I said, Brahmas were didn't have the best record, but they had a great defense. He was one of those contributors. I think he had close to 40 tackles uh, on that defensive line for the Brahmas this season. So glad to see him getting a shot with the there you go, 36 tackles, 7.5 sacks. Was he close to being the sack leader, or was he the sack leader? I think
There
seven
was
and a
a,
half.
I'd have to research it honestly,
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
there was a few of them that were close. I
Yeah,
know.
7.5. That's impressive there. Yeah, glad to see him getting a shot. 36 tackles. That's great. Off the defensive line. I mean, he was also one of the key pieces on the Brahmas defense, which was great. I think the Brahmas defense played great throughout the season. Offensively they had their ups and downs, but I think defensively I think the Brahmas definitely their strong suit. The 2023 season. I think that's something they'll build off of going into 2024. But yeah, glad to see Delonte getting a shot.
Yeah, I think he'll be busy as well. The Falcons, they've got a whole squad of XFL players.
Oh yeah.
So that should be a team to watch. And I mean, a lot of us are rooting right now for Heineke to take that starting job just to be able to watch him weekly.
Yeah. I remember watching him playoffs. I think 2021. He stepped up in the playoffs for the Commanders. I think against the Buccaneers, and they came close, but he did great. I think the starting quarterback for the Commanders went down, so Heineke stepped in and he did a good job. He did a good job.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I look forward to watching that Falcons team, and I'm a Saints fan, so that's a big statement coming from me, honestly.
Yeah, unofficial pipeline of the NFL, of the Falcons, the XFL.
I got you. I understand. We'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's got to be better than what they did last year, right?
yeah.
All right. All right. Oh, let's do one more comment. Then we're gonna move on, man.
Number 15.
Yeah, Jackie said that's her boy. She's from the Horns Forward podcast. I don't know if you've checked it out before. This light I got is going crazy.
Oh,
Technology is not
Brahmas.
liking me. Yeah, they do the Brahmas. They're really big in fan engagement, fundraising, different shows. They're pretty active. Check it out sometime if you get bored. It's a good one to watch for all things Brahmas and XFL.
Gotcha.
All right, let's move on. So, next up, let's talk a little bit about the 2023 season. Now, basically, I just want to ask your opinion and gauge your thoughts. So, there really isn't a wrong answer on some of this stuff, man. Really, just like I said, trying to gauge your thoughts and see exactly what you think. So, just starting from the bat, in terms of fan engagement, uh, being active with fans, social media, ticket sales, marketing. How do you feel the 2023 season went?
I think a lot of people want to go out and compare it to the 2020 season, which I think, unfortunately, which was better. There's no sugarcoating that, but I think really in terms of the financials, XFL obviously was way more conservative financially in 2023. So I think obviously, the I guess the product is not going to be as close as it would have been to the 2020 XFL, where Vince McMahon spent what is it, $250 million through 5 weeks. So, but you had the Battlehawks who had 30,000 fans consistently. The Defenders worked their way up there with attendance second best in the league, but they worked their way up there. They sold out their last 2 games of the season. Um, I think Brahmas, they saw 24,000, which is the best attendance, excluding the Battlehawks, and then the championship. Brahmas weren't even playing. They bought, I think, uh, more than 20,000. I think 22,000 might have been. They bought 22,000 fans there for that neutral site game. I think I think ownership. The Rock, Danny Garcia, they've said they're working to build to learn from their mistakes and build off their original season. I think they'll do just that. Um, Hopefully, because a lot of people are saying this upcoming season is gonna be make or break, but I think I think it will be too. I think we really need to see more local fan engagement. We didn't quite see that as much as you'd expect in the in the 2023 season, but I think if they could ramp that up, because they have great fan bases to build on. It's all there, so really just you got to tap into those fan bases, and I think we see the league build off that, and I think they're in a great spot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I just wanted to gauge your opinion. Coming from different markets, I mean, you're on a whole different side of the United States. I didn't know if did you as a person, did you know about the XFL as a media, or did you actually hear about it as a fan?
I heard about it as a fan. Yeah, I watched it back in 2020, not to the extent that I cover it now, but I watched it back in 2020, and I followed XFL on social since. I was excited when The Rock announced he was buying it, and Danny Garcia, and I've been following it since, and yeah, so I really just been following it since 2020. I know a lot of people saying who watched it in 2020 saying they didn't know it was back. So that's a bit of an issue, but I've stuck with it since 2020, and yeah.
Gotcha. Just wanted to gauge it out. Like I said,
Yeah.
nothing wrong or right here. You being younger as well, I'm just curious, if it was something that you were keeping up with yourself personally, or if you heard an ad or a friend or something. So, but if you're plugged into socials and your football, you're going to hear about things pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I got into the 2020 XFL. I think I was just flipping through the channels, and I think the original game, I think, was Defenders versus Dragons. Now they're the Sea Dragons, but back in 2020 they were just the Seattle Dragons, which I personally liked much better. But anyway, I think it was on ABC or ESPN, one of those two. But I was flipping through channels, and I saw Defenders versus Dragons, and it was like, oh, more football in the spring. That's great. So I tuned in, and then I've been a fan since. And much more now than I was 3 years ago. But yeah, I'm glad the league's back, and unfortunately not a lot of or not a lot. I wouldn't say that, but there are some fans who haven't even known the league's back. But I think it's great that they are back, and I've been following them since. So that's my story with the league.
Understood. What do you think about gameplay last year? How did that go?
Gameplay. I think it got better, exponentially better as the season went on. I think what was it? I think yeah, it definitely got better. I remember Guardians versus Defenders week 6. That was a great game, great offensive game. I thought we saw some great action there between the worst team and the best team. The worst team ended up winning, but I think the quality of play just improved exponentially. Playoffs were great to watch. Wasn't competitive. Wasn't too competitive with the scoring, I think, but it was great football. The Renegades, Luis Perez and the Renegades were great. He really upped their offense. He made them look much better offensively, and I think that really helped the quality of play there in the playoffs and the championship. But I think all the teams, the Guardians, even they improved throughout the season. As we know, in the Battlehawks, they were great. AJ McCarron, great quarterback. Ben DiNucci. He was a little careless with the football, but he had a great core of receivers, great offense. Fun to watch that offense under that's Sea Dragons offense, that run and shoot scheme. That was fun to watch.
No doubt, no
Defenders,
doubt.
obviously, as I said, but it was great to watch. June Jones, offensive coordinator of the Sea Dragons, great to watch his offense. Great to watch. Yeah, and as I said, just the quality of play just improved exponentially throughout the season. That, in my opinion, I think a lot of fans would agree. Obviously, it'll happen as you go and develop that chemistry with time.
Yep. I just wanted to see what you thought, man. You have a unique perspective. You're a fan, you're media, and honestly, you're some of the younger generation. So it's unique perspective for sure.
Yeah.
What do you think? What give me a couple of highlights or some positives, something that you really struck home with you. Whether it be the kickoff or the Rock and Danny coming to game. I mean, what sticks out to you that makes it seem successful
I
compared to
think
its
the
first few runs?
highlights, all five of the home Battlehawks games. I think it was great seeing that 30, full lower deck and even some of the upper deck. It was great, watch football, with a lot of fans there. Defenders too. They had 18,000 capacity crowd there, but I think the championship was fun to watch too. But honestly, my favorite game earlier in the season, I'm gonna have to go with that Battlehawks versus Brahma's game. First week one, we saw 24,000 fans in attendance at the Alamo Dome. First week of the XFL, I think it was a Sunday, and it was really great. It was a little shaky there in the first three quarters, but then Battlehawks, AJ McCarron manufactured that, I think, two possession comeback in the fourth quarter. It was awesome to watch. That's one of the more underrated games from the season. I think people don't talk about it because how boring it was for the first three quarters for those who are big offensive fans. But I think that was great. I think, as I said, Guardians versus Defenders, 37-36. I think that was a great game too, to watch for offensive fans. Let's see. I think both of the Defenders versus Battlehawks games. I think week three they played the Battlehawks at home. The Defenders played the Battlehawks at home. I think it was 28-20. Uh, Defenders won, and then week five, I think Abram Smith's coming out party. He had like 200 yards. I think it was. I don't know the final score exactly, but I know the Defenders won. One possession game came down to the wire, but it was those two games. That series was fun to watch, especially with a great crowd in attendance. That was also the game. I think week three of the game they unbanned the beer snake, so fans were excited for that in attendance.
Yeah, the beer snake became the face of DC at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
And that game, the second meeting that you discussed just then, that was really where you heard a lot of fan feedback, I guess you can say, constructive criticism. Besides that, and the playoff system, I know that's one thing I've heard a lot of complaints about. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, oh yeah. People, I mean, yeah, yeah. And then they ended up winning the thing, and then people complained that you have a 4-6 team winning your championship,
yeah,
and the Renegades, they played like a playoff team in the playoffs, not so much during the regular season, but they looked like they looked like they deserved to be there in the playoffs. So under Luis Perez, they did a great job, you know, uh, in the home stretch.
yeah. I mean, you won't hear me complain about who won or whatnot. It was nice to see an underdog come through and win. I know
Yeah,
I
yeah.
enjoyed it, and I was there in person. And I mean, they played better. There was no controversial calls. There was no bad officiating. The Renegades just played better. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right, let's
Agreed,
roll
agreed.
in. So, last thing I want to ask you: any improvements? Anything you can say that can be improved from that season? I mean, it doesn't have to. You don't have to do 20 things. Just pick one thing that you think should be improved and roll with it. Let's hear your reasoning.
Um, you know, um, Let's see. I mean, I think the quality of play towards the end of the season was great. But I think really just, you have a great product. You really got to sell that to fans. Unfortunately, TV ratings, a lot of people like to talk about that as an indicator of how well the league is doing. I think really you get that, just increasing your advertising, tapping into those local markets there. I think really, I'll say tapping into local markets. That's really, I think, where we need to see improvement from the XFL. And I think the owners have acknowledged that they need to do a better job with advertising in general. And I think hopefully we'll see that for 2024 because they have a great product on the field, fun to watch. And I think really about getting the fans to give it a chance.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Like that's something I have said in comparison is a lot of the fans that were here are still here, and that's the ones that were repping the XFL, supporting it, attending games, watching on TV. We got to get the word out for other people to watch. We got to
Yep.
get some marketing for the new fans, for the people that doubt the XFL, for the people that, well, it's not professional because it's not NFL. Those are the people that we got to start changing their minds because they got to take it serious. And so
Hmm.
I think a lot of that comes from just being around. And I've discussed this with numerous people. Once they have some shelf life and they've actually got some time that they've built up, I think we'll be fine on that. That'll just come. But I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, time too, as you said. Fans league shut down twice after one season. Yeah, twice. I'll say twice after one season. So got to build that trust, loyalty from the fans. I think that's a big part of it too. So yeah,
Yeah, and the XFL fans are super loyal. They're a different type of fan.
yeah. Yeah, you have your super fans. I think it's really about establishing, that casual fan base. A lot of those casual football watchers. I think it's really important that you try to, get in, lure to becoming fans of the XFL.
Yes, sir. Agreed, 100%. In terms of the 2024 season, what's your outlook? What do you think the differences or changes will be made going forward?
I think we'll see all 8 of the same teams. I know there were rumors earlier this summer that the Wildcats would come back, but really, I mean, I sent that original tweet out, but I didn't really put much context there that it was just a trademark to reserve the rights per se of the team name. But I think eventually we'll definitely see the Wildcats down the line. But we'll see all 8 of the same teams. I think we might see I think we might see the Roughnecks though relocate in market. We got word from the league on that due to renovations at TDECU. Um, what else? Vipers. I think overall, I think with putting out season tickets for 6 of the 8 teams, I think that's a great move. I don't know how they're doing with sales right as of now, but I think it's really a great move. Because last year they season tickets for the Vipers came out like a week before the season even
Mm-hmm.
or a single game ticket, something like that. Either way, I think that was a problem overall. I think tickets came out like a month before the season started,
Yep.
and if you want to call yourself a professional league, I think you really got to be on top of that stuff. So I like the league putting out season tickets this early, and then I think we'll see single game tickets probably hopefully or actually, I think probably by the end of 2023. So you give fans time to plan and to buy tickets. Get the word out.
Yep. Yep. Make it where you can buy them as Christmas
Yeah,
gifts. Yeah.
there you go.
I know just from the XFL shop, just right now they're running a sale. I think it's like 3 items, get so many percent off. So I
What's
think I think they'll be. I'll pull it up real quick.
is that the back to school? I see
Yeah,
that
yeah.
on the socials. Yeah.
But I think I think that means that they're going to pursue stuff like that. They realize that it is in the scope and means of what's going on. Let's see if this
Hmm.
is on their site. Da-da-da. Yeah, here it is. Let me share. Because I'm doing a T-shirt giveaway on the show next
Oh,
week,
really?
and um, like this is actually going to save money for me for sure. So it all worked out
Yeah.
great. So 40% off when you buy 3+ items from our back to school collection. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, I've got a few of these shirts myself, and I've paid $32, I think, with shipping and taxes, something like that, for one item. So 40%
Yeah,
works.
I think that they've been doing a lot of promotions with these XFL shop items, right? They did one for 4th of July or summer,
Yep.
right? I mean, I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see it.
Yeah, same here, man. I think it's good, and it just shows they're actually still trying to keep the engagement and not
Yep.
just giving up on what's going on
Yeah,
as
agreed.
we go forward.
Yeah, real. I think key is building off the momentum from the end of the 2023 season. Staying active on socials, which
Yep.
the social team has done a great job at. I see tweets every day from all the individual social media teams, so that's great. Yeah, just building off that momentum from the 2023 season, continuing that. So yeah, I think that's going to be really important for 2024.
Yes, sir. Agreed. So we got your take on the 2024 season as well as the 2023 season. We've talked about some XFL to NFL players. And I mean, basically, we've just kind of discussed what your stance was on everything and how
Yeah.
you felt. Anything XFL or related before we move on to just asking some more questions about you and
Anything
getting to know you?
I think the league's in a great spot. People say league lost $60 million. That's nothing compared to what the XFL 2020 lost. But you gotta spend money. A lot of people say this, but you gotta spend money to make money really. And I
Yep.
think that's what leagues do. And I think we're gonna see I think we're gonna see some really great improvement in 2024. Um, what else? I think the league said, I think Forbes article said this. They said $100 million, um, I think, revenue threshold for 2024. So I don't know what happens if they don't hit that, but I think $100 million. That's a big amount. So I think the league has big expectations. I have big expectations. I think a lot of fans do for the 2024 season. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, agreed. Let's just not have any more pandemics. That'll be
Yeah,
great. That
yeah.
that
Knock on wood.
yeah, that'll
Hopefully we
definitely
don't.
make things a little better for us all. I don't want to deal with that again. But yeah, man. Let's
Yeah, I
move
mean,
on, bro. Let's
yeah,
ask some more about you. I want to know more about you now. So you're 16. You're an author. You're right. You're a content creator. You're still in high school, right?
hmm
So tell me I mean, just give me some more info on your background. Tell me more about yourself. What do you like? Tell me, what do you do? Like, what's your hobbies? How did you get here to this position?
yeah. So as I said earlier, I'm just going to be a senior in high school. I actually never played football in my life. I actually run track for my high school team. But yeah, I started watching the XFL in 2020. As I said, know the um I know the AAF in 2019 was I didn't watch that, unfortunately. I just never really attracted me like the XFL did, but I did pay attention a little bit. But XFL 2020 really when I started getting into this alternate football here, and then I watched the USFL in 2022 last year. It was great. It was a great filler for the XFL. I'm not saying it's a filler actually. I'm a fan equally of the USFL as I am to the XFL, but
Same.
yeah, it's great to have two leagues, football all year long. But yeah, I also cover the USFL
Gotcha.
to an extent on my Twitter at USFL Center. But yeah, I think I try to be balanced with my coverage there in terms of favoring leagues. But I like them equally, giving the players the opportunity to live out their dream, getting them tape, giving them chances to go to the NFL. I think quality of play in both leagues is great. So yeah, I've been a fan of both. I started covering the XFL and USFL actually last summer. I think I created my Twitter accounts, and then as I said in the preseason, I reached out to Mark Nelson of XFL Board, started writing preseason articles for the DC Defenders, and that's kind of continued into that's where we are today.
Gotcha. So I had a question too from Mike. Hold on, let's see. He said, "How do your friends feel about the XFL?"
So, I've tried to get them into it. I've tried to talk about it, but I don't think they're clearly not as into it as me. But they watch it sometimes, but yeah, I think they're definitely more casual fans as to me. I'm covering the league on a daily basis, but they watch it. We talk about it sometimes, but only some of them, and they're not obviously not as a diehard fan as I am, and yes, I'll say that. Yeah, more casual fans.
Understood. Now, that's what I was going to ask you. Do people know that you do this, that you cover on the side? I mean, it's because coming into it, dude, I didn't know anything about you. I couldn't find any info on you. So that's what,
Really?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, well, I guess it's hard to find info on me when my Twitter's XFL Center. Nothing with me. I mean, I guess on XFL board it says, whenever I publish articles, it says by Aidan Burke. But yeah, my friends do know I cover it. Um, cover the XFL. But yeah, um, yeah, that's what I'll say.
Yes, sir. No worries. I was sharing your Twitter there. I know I've used some of your tweets and your
Yeah,
information
yeah,
along the way. This thing is not, there it goes. Cool. Uh, Along the way, I've shared some. So is it loaded up now? Did it load
yeah.
up finally?
See it.
Yeah. So I've used a lot of your tweets along the way. I know just
Yeah,
for info, just to get you going. I've shared a lot. I've took a lot of this stuff on Facebook because when I started, it was a lot of Facebook stuff. So I've took a
yeah.
lot of things and transferred them over, but I always took screenshots of whoever of whatever party and just transfer that over. But it's super cool to put a face on the name XFL Center because, like I said, I always wondered who it was.
Yeah. Greg Parks there. He does great coverage too. I retweet a lot of his tweets, especially this past week. I've been on vacation, so I haven't been able to cover to the extent that I usually do. But yeah, Greg Parks does a great job. I think that's ML football. He's like on top of he has like 80,000 followers, but yeah, he's on top of a lot of these
Yep.
XFL to NFL, USFL to NFL signings. So
Same,
yeah,
same.
I use a lot of his content there. Yeah, I mean it's a lot. It's a lot. It's been a busy off season. Busy off season.
Do you work with anybody else in terms of like other podcasts or media stuff, or is it just XFL board and then
Just
the
XFL
person?
board and I guess my Twitters. In
Gotcha.
terms of media and journalism, I guess you want to call it.
Understood. So, see, I mean, you basically already answered this, but what attracted you to the XFL? What made you want to pursue it and
Yeah, yeah.
just make it a thing?
Never played football in my life, but I've always been a big football fan. XFL, I saw back in 2020 there's more football in the spring. I was like, wow, this is great. The games were great, the atmospheres were great, and that's just transpired into what I do now. And really, there was an opportunity for me to start covering the league. I could build my I guess my following with the league. So I think it's great. I've met some great people. Through this, and it's just been a great experience overall. And I'm glad I'm doing this. Really, uh, yeah, really, it's great experience.
You need to attend a game next year if you can. Definitely as
Yeah,
media,
totally.
because you'll really like that, dude. That's what sucked me in the most, to be honest with you.
Oh, really? Yeah. Hopefully, Defenders one day, at least
Yep.
one game I can get to because I don't think we're getting the guard. We're definitely actually not getting the guard. Any New York team. Hope maybe 2025, but for now, I guess it'll be the Defenders if I have any hope of going to any XFL games in 2024.
That's a good one to go to, bro.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
could be worse, believe me. So that's not a bad one.
yeah,
Uh, Here. So being a student, how do you keep up with everything? How do you focus on school, XFL, your own sports, your own
yeah,
personal life? Like, tell us what's your process?
yeah. I mean, it's summer right now, so I've been able to really devote to this stuff. But during the school year, I mean, it is rough, especially when I run track, do cross country, so that definitely has impacted me. But yeah, it's difficult, I'll say, because you feel like you're not on um you're not as on top of everything, because you're focusing on school. You got 7 hours of school, you got homework, you got extracurriculars, you got to do this. Really, only the weekends are my time to catch up, because during the week, I'm coming off my junior year. It was during the weeks. It's tough with schoolwork, and everything. But I try my best. I really do. But summer's given me a great chance to really. I feel like this summer I've really improved my coverage and gotten more into these spring leagues, and covering them.
That's a good lead in for my next question. What's the biggest goals you have when covering or reporting? What's some stuff that you make sure you want to highlight or not highlight when covering a sport?
Yeah, I wanna try to be informative, and I want to try to be non-biased, I guess. I try to always be on top of my reporting, my content. I try to make sure any sources are reliable. I want to be as detailed as I can when I write my articles in a timely manner. I feel like I've improved with that with time. I think I've written like 50 articles for XFL board since
Wow.
January. So I'm just trying to improve to meet as many people as I can. Try to improve my journalism skills as I continue to do this. Want to be accurate, obviously. Want to be non-biased, as I said. Yeah, I really just want to give information to fans that's accurate and reliable. I guess is the word that sums it all together. Reliable. I want to provide reliable information for everyone who sees my content. So
It's a valuable trait. And
yeah,
I know grown men that can't do what you're saying right now. So
I
congrats,
try.
brother. You should have a
Thank you.
successful career no matter what you end up picking, because
Yeah, yeah.
you,
Thank you.
what you want and what you want to accomplish is fair and accurate journalism, and
Hmm.
it's greatly needed in today's society.
Amen. Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, man. In terms of school, I mean, XFL is going to kick up what February. We'll have playoffs, championship April, May.
yeah.
That
So it
you're going to
starts.
be graduating, right? So you're going to be a
Yeah.
busy man.
Hmm.
Yep.
I mean, even we're gonna have two more big drafts. I mean, we've had these mini
Yep.
drafts with like rights drafts, whatever you want to call them. But we're gonna see. People are saying, training camp drafts, if you want to call it that. I
Yep.
think in October for guys who were cut from the NFL. With the deadline coming up, and then we'll see a supplemental draft in December. So yeah, I mean it's gonna be busy all year round. I think the activity in the XFL is only going to ramp up and ramp up. Believe it or not, I think right now we're really in a quiet zone, and
Oh,
it's
for
been
sure.
pretty busy. But I think it's only get more and more busy. I'll do my best to stay on top of it when I start school.
I was just curious, man. I used to be a teacher and a coach back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I know, just judging from an athlete standpoint, if you play a sport and you're academic slightly, you're pretty busy in
Yeah,
school. You don't have a
yeah,
lot of free time. By the time you get home, you're probably wore out. So
exactly.
the dedication is there. So good stuff, man. Much respect to you.
Thank you, thank you.
So I just got a couple more questions and I'll let you go. I appreciate you talking with me, man. It's been over an
Yeah,
hour. I know I told you 30 to
wow.
60 minutes originally, so
Glad to
we're
be here.
almost there. What so I talked to you about 2024, but where do you see the XFL evolving in 2 years? And I've asked this question to two or three different individuals amongst the media crew,
Mhm.
fans. Where do you see that us being in this 2025 year?
2024. Well, I think we gotta, really focus on 2024 first, 1 year at a time. But 2025, um, people have said there are plans to expand. I don't know how credible this information is, but I think the league. I think really the league. I think the league will probably will expand actually. I think Wildcats, which we saw information we got information on earlier this month, I think, and then I think we'll probably see expansion maybe to 10 or 12 teams. I'm not take it with a I'm not saying we will see it. I'm just saying what I think will happen,
Understood.
based on what I've kind of what I've heard. But I think we'll see expansion in 2025, if we make it there, hopefully. But I think hopefully by then too, we get a bigger fan base, leagues, starting to build momentum. Yeah, it's building momentum, but hopefully, it's continuing to grow and evolve. I think we've seen that through the first season, but I think it's going to continue to grow and evolve. And with that, we'll see more teams. We'll see hopefully attracting better talent. I think Philip Lindsay, who joined the Sea Dragons in late in the 2023 season, that was a big acquisition. I mean, he was great for the Broncos. He was undrafted, but he did some good things. He was a starter. So I think the league will just continue to evolve. Hopefully, with that, you get attention from bigger players who decide they want to get tape from the league. They want to go there to prove why they're ready to be the NFL.
Yeah. I think you're correct in that as well. Hopefully we see more amongst just all spring leagues working together. That'd be cool on my end. But yeah, I agree. 2024 has to happen before 2025.
Yeah,
And
1 year at a time.
Yeah, people like to get ahead of themselves, but as we know with this stuff, it's 1 year at a time. Take it easy. Let's get a successful season again under our belt and make some money, and then we'll be ready to roll and expand and do whatever fancy new stuff is out there.
Yeah. I think eventually, hopefully when we get there, we'll see expansion. Obviously, we'll probably see these teams auction off or sold off to owners, and that'll definitely help out the league with that, and that'll obviously be a monumental point for the league. You have ownership for each individual team, not just one corporation in the XFL, owning all of these 8 teams. But I don't think we'll see that for at least maybe 5 years, I'd say. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'd say 3 to 5 myself from 2024. I agree with you. Yeah, it
yeah.
would change the dynamics of a lot of things if we had team ownership. It would,
Oh yeah,
in terms
yeah.
of roster moves, pickups, trade. I mean, we'd see a lot of different stuff going on.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
good takes. What in terms of you? What's your plans for the future, man? Are you planning on pursuing media? What?
I think so. Yeah, sports journalism. I'm just now starting to apply to colleges, all for journalism, communications. But yeah, I think journalism is the path I do want to head into. In my future, as I've done, this past year with sports, XFL, USFL, all that.
Gotcha. What do you foresee yourself writing about? Just football or other sports as well?
I really don't know. I mean, I like. I think football is my favorite sport, probably to watch. But I used to play baseball, actually, and used to play basketball. I watch college basketball, watch NBA, watch baseball. So yeah, I mean, I love to write about either sport, but so far for me at least, it's been mainly football. In terms of writing and journalism.
Gotcha. I mean, like I said, dude, the fact that you're 16 and you're doing what you're doing, it puts a huge leap up compared to anybody else your age or surrounding. You keep doing what you're doing, you can be writing somewhere while in college and be making
Yeah,
decent money. So keep up the grind, bro. I've read your work numerous times, and like I said, once I found out you were 16, it kind of made my jaw drop because I did not see that coming. So
appreciate it.
yeah, and I've seen Aidan Burke many a times on the XFL board because I read a lot of their stuff. They share
Yeah.
my stuff on there. We're a partner,
Mm,
and
yeah.
it just blew my mind, man. So I'm really happy for you as a young man and teenager. I feel like you're going to be very successful. Just keep grinding. It's going to take time, but you're going to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
somewhere good soon.
Trust the process.
Always.
Yep.
In terms of future projects, is there anything that you want people to know about? Anything you may be working on in terms of next document or writing or anything like that?
I mean, I'll continue to write about defenders, the XFL and XFL board. I plan to stay there. They've been great. Um, Mark Nelson, Greg Parks. They're all great guys
Yes, sir.
over at XFL Board. I know they gave me a shout out when you had them on. I think the first episode. But
Yep.
yeah, they're great. Mark's been great. Yeah, so I'm just gonna plan is keep my head down, keep writing for the Defenders. We're gonna have some, the 2 drafts, and then before we know it, the season will be here. I'll keep writing about the Defenders and the XFL. Hopefully, the league's around for a long time, so we could keep having these conversations. I could keep writing, you could keep producing content, and yeah, really just continuing on the XFL.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'll be here, no doubt. And you're always welcome on the show, Aidan. Man, don't. If you have something you want to present or something that you feel like it's worth, come on. If you want to discuss things, come on. Whenever the season hits, I plan on this show being a lot more interactive with actual game stuff instead of
Oh yeah.
interviews and
I think
discussions.
yeah.
Yeah.
Off season, it's a slow period, but yeah, no.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, we're even getting closer. October. I think we'll probably see schedule soon. That's gonna be a talking point. Roster expansion to 90. So I think most teams are between 70 and 80. So there's a good amount of spots to fill there. So we'll see. We'll see a lot of off-season content just continue to ramp up, and then preseason training camp. Then we'll be at the season before we know it, February.
Yep, and we're ready. And that's what's. I mean, how does it feel being one of the youngest content creators amongst the XFL community? How does it make you feel, man?
Feels great. Feels great. I mean, I'm glad. I'm glad to be doing what I'm doing. I recently reached 1,000 followers on XFL Center. I'm up to 50 articles on XFL, or I think close to 50. I think I might be like 48, 49, something like that. But I'm just grateful. I have the opportunity to cover a great league, the XFL and the USFL. On USFL Center. So yeah, I mean, it feels great. I'm privileged to cover the all football and be a part of this community.
Yeah, you're definitely a face of the community and a source for information. So keep up what you're doing, man. Keep a mature head. Keep working. But I look forward to getting with you more and us discussing some football and trying to, even like roundtable events where we have the
Yeah,
XFL board crew come on and such. All those things are going to be great collaborations. So I look forward to the future with you and anybody else who wants to join in.
all right. Sounds good.
Appreciate you coming on tonight, Aidan.
Yeah, thanks for
This
having me.
XFL Center on Twitter, Aidan Burke. Aidan, if you could just share your socials, anything you want people to know, because it is an audio podcast also that gets released tomorrow.
Yeah, at XFL Center on Twitter and at USFL Center also on Twitter. Those are mainly the only 2 I have on social media, and then obviously I write articles on XFL Board as under the name Aidan Burke. So
Yes, sir. I'll have all your links on the notes, so it's easy. You can click it and roll. No worries. So should have everything there that you need. Appreciate you again coming on, dude. Like I said, if you end up interested and want to come on again, just contact me
yeah,
anytime.
certainly. Thanks for having me, man. Matthew, have a good night.
You too, brother. Be safe and enjoy your weekend or your week. Lord, it's
Oh
Sunday.
yeah, Sunday night. Yeah, I still got a few more weeks of break though to enjoy though during
There
the
you
week.
go. There you go. Live it up, brother. Take it
Yeah.
easy.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
Be good now. All right. Appreciate Aidan for coming on tonight. Great guest. I mean, the guests that have come on this past month, starting with Mark and the XFL board crew, leading all the way to Aidan. Everybody's great. Been great conversations. Every time we have this, I leave with more than what I came in with. So appreciate it, guys. This is solid content. All right. Next up, I'm going to stream the interview with Mike Guardiola. He is the editor-in-chief for the podcast. Me and him spoke about a week ago. We had a meeting, then we had a little intro pre-recorded session where we just got to know him a little bit more and asked him some questions, nothing major. So I'll stream that, and then the show will be over following that. So, as normal, I want to say thanks to the XFL. Appreciate you letting me use some of your content, as well as being a credentialed media member. Great privilege. It's led me places that I never thought I'd be. and I hope to providing more and more good content as we go forward. Thanks XFL Board for being a great partner ever since the start. Mark's been a role model, helping me getting everything organized and posting things here and there, sharing my stuff, uh, documents, whatever. So appreciate you guys at XFL Board, all the great content creators there also. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. You can find me, and I'm not even going to say it. You know where by now. Everything's in the notes. If you need me, find me. If not, no worries. I'll be here again. Uh, check out the 29th. I'll have Evan Wilsmore on. Evan's going to be a great guest. He's got a lot of different positions going. He's got a lot of different expertise and knowledge amongst the football community and the alt sports community. So look forward to getting him on and speaking with him more, getting to know him. Really good guy, and one of the best relationships that I found amongst the Houston crew, going and visiting. So look forward to speaking with him more. But yeah, that's it for me. It's been fun. It's been hot. It's hot. I'm tired of it being hot. Thanks again, guys. Let me turn this off. And I'm going to stream this interview and get out of here. It's about 38 minutes long, I believe. So, like I said, following that, it'll be just like, I'm out of here. Gotta wait for it to load. All right, there we go. The show now. What'd you say, Mike? Go ahead.
I was kind of talking under my breath. Hey, you said it right.
You're good, bro. Just want to make sure I didn't miss your moment. Mike's going to be running some content and helping the contributors out with the show. Look forward to having him and his expertise and his insights. So far, we've had some great opinions, great discussions, great articles come out of what we're putting together in this collaboration. So it's been pretty successful, and in the future during the games and in actual season, I feel like Mike's going to make a big difference. But Mike, it's good to have you, man. I didn't mess your name up today.
Got it right. Got it right. And you finally got me on. I didn't want to appear on screen, but you finally got me here.
We got you, man. We got to make face. I know you're not big on it, and you may not see Mike on the show anymore, but just remember, he is in the background, and he is doing some stuff on his end to help out. So keep that in mind. Mike, I always do this, and then I'm going to pop this up. We're going to introduce you, of course, but tell me what's your background, basically what brought you to this point, and then we'll talk more XFL after that.
I am a football nerd. I'm a football junkie. I'm looking for a good game. I'm always looking for a good game. You look at a schedule, whether it's college or high school or the NFL, that's going to be a good game. So I'm going to watch that. That's the kind of person that I am. I'm about football. I have a tremendous love for football. Um, I coached Little League for about 10 out of the last 14 years, but about 20 seasons worth because you play fall ball and spring ball, which is usually the select. And in this part of Texas, they also do 6-man football off season, which is the spring ball. Whereas in West Texas, that's all they play is 6-man. If you've never watched 6-man, it's so entertaining. The scoring is rapid. Yeah, everybody's eligible essentially. Even the center is eligible to receive passes. But that's a whole nother story.
It's interesting for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely something to look into. But like I said, I'm a football junkie, and I was a big fan of XFL 2.0. That's how I refer to it. It's 2.0 for the 2020 season. Was really getting into it, really enjoying it, loved the product, and then of course we all know COVID took that away from us. So when Danny Garcia announced that she and The Rock and Redbird were purchasing the XFL, I was a little skeptical at first, but I was like, after listening to their interviews, after listening to their press conferences, and doing some research on them, I was like, okay, they know what they're doing. They're going to give this a legitimate shot, and it's worth it to follow. Let's see, because I already liked. We didn't have a team in San Antonio at that time, so I was an Arlington Renegades fan, or Dallas at that time, Dallas Renegades fan, and Houston Roughnecks. And I'm from Texas, so Houston's Houston. But I did follow the Roughnecks.
Hey,
and
watch it now.
So I started watching them when PJ Walker was tearing it up, and I just got really excited about the XFL. And then when it came back, I didn't know who to follow. Was I going to go back to the Renegades? Was I going to follow the Roughnecks this time? And then they announced a team in San Antonio. Being a football junkie, I didn't immediately take to the Brahmas. I didn't say, "Oh, there's a team, so we have to love it." I was going to make them earn my loyalty, because that's, I'm a very loyal fan. So I'm going to admit this because it's out there on social media. I was not in love with the team name, the Brahmas, because there's a lot of bull-related mascots in this area. The Houston Texans, University of Texas, and there's a local high school called MacArthur whose mascot is the Brahmas. Gotcha. I wasn't too keen on that. I was hoping something like Defenders, but we couldn't use that one. Something a little bit different. And it kind of grew on me. And I felt like the Brahmas nickname was a little bit too on the nose because of Dwayne Johnson, but I didn't know how to feel about that. I didn't want to feel like The Rock says to love this, so you're going to love it. I wanted to be a little skeptical at first, and I grew to love the team. Watched how Hines Ward grew as a coach, because that's something that I keep an eye on. I don't just say, "Oh, we're losing, let's get rid of the guy." No, it's can he continue to move forward with what adversity he's been dealt? We had Jack Cohen wasn't very successful behind this line. It was just too many injuries to overcome. And I heard some of the fans were like getting on Jack Cohen's case. I'm also a Notre Dame fan, so I was familiar with Jack Cohen, and I was familiar with Alizé Mack. Jack Cohen isn't mobile sideline to sideline. He's mobile ahead of, moving forward, but he's not an escape artist. But if you give him time, he'll pick you apart. He really will. So it wasn't so much that I was a Notre Dame fan, so I was cutting him extra slack. It was that they've had some injuries to that line, give them time. So I like to approach it from a realistic standpoint. What's really going on? You can't just blame the quarterback for every loss or blame the coaches for every loss. It's too easy to do that.
So I know you said you weren't too big on the name there at the get-go. At what point did you become a true Brahmas fan? And is there a point in the season where you officially said, "All right, this is my team. I'm picking"?
Yeah, week one. I made it a point to be at the Alamo Dome week one.
Nice.
And what turned out to be AJ McCarron's coming out party. We got to see so many aspects of the XFL for that game. The 4th and long to convert for the onside kick. McCarron did that, and then he drove his team down in the comeback period, which that term doesn't get a lot of emphasis right now, but it allows teams to move down the field without having to burn timeouts or strictly to go to sideline. You can complete a long pass down the field and get your team up there without burning any clock. But that defense and how well they played together, and even though they were giving up a lot of 3rd and longs and 4th and longs, that moment, just being in San Antonio and seeing that city embrace that team, that's what changed it all for me. It wasn't even that I was covering the Brahmas. It's just the feel. San Antonio is a great, great city. Yes, I've been a diehard Spurs fan forever, so I understand what a San Antonio crowd is like. I knew that they would embrace the team. They're very loyal. They're very dedicated. I went initially to cover the team as a member of the media, not necessarily as a fan, and in that process became a fan.
Understood.
Of the team.
So you were there as media for the first game?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Well, I wasn't credentialed. but I knew I was going to be working for Ambush. I was writing for Ambush. That's where we met.
I forgot to mention that as well. He does write for Ambush, guys. I forgot to mention that. I'm sorry. Me and Mike met up, and we've been talking for probably an hour before we actually recorded. 2 hours. So you see how it's going. But yeah, so I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
So no, it was I wanted to experience the game from a different point of view. The very first game, I took Park and Ride to see what it was like. One of the things that some teams kind of take for granted is getting people to the stadium. So I drove into San Antonio because I didn't want to drive into downtown. I live about an hour north of San Antonio. I didn't want to drive through downtown and all that. So I took the Park and Ride. I got in. It was an epic experience. And I try not to use hyperbole too much, but where you get dropped off, you go up and you're on ground level, and there's the Alamo Dome. What I didn't know is Lot B. Lot B is where all the tailgating happens. And I should have gone there first, and I regret not going there first. And I will make it a point to go to Lot B, because that's where all the tailgaters are. You could smell, it was like, when you go into somebody's barbecue and you turn the corner and you can smell the grill. That's what it was like. I mean, the food, I was like, oh man, I don't have time to go do that. So I'm going to find my seat, then orientate myself a little bit, and then walk around the entire Alamo Dome just to kind of take it in a little bit. And I have worked as media in the press booth on the second home game, and I had a way more enjoyable experience as a fan, because it was great to interact with people and see things. There's things that go on in a football game that you might not necessarily see on TV.
Yep.
And I'll give you an example. Game one of the footballs got kicked up into the stands, and their XFL was like, "Hey, give us our ball back, give us our ball back." And this was over in the opposite corner of the end zone from where I was sitting, and you could kind of hear the crowd going, "Let him have it. Let him have it," or "Don't give it back." It hadn't organized yet to a solid chant, but we're like, what is going on over there? And apparently a ball got kicked into the stand, and the XFL wanted it back, and they eventually let that guy have it, And side note, I think the reason for that is I was watching a USFL telecast, and they had a player score a touchdown and give it to a kid in the stand, and then somebody from USFL said, we kind of need that ball back. And somebody was smart enough to go, why? Well, because that ball has proprietary technology in it, and it costs about $1,000 per ball. So it makes me think maybe the XFL has got some proprietary technology in their footballs, and that's why they didn't want to let somebody keep it.
Yep.
But that was one of the little things that went on in the crowd,
awesome.
And that was kind of cool to see.
The press box there is awesome, right? So you were there for the big games. So, I mean, I was there for the championship, but you were there when their actual attendance was higher, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
the first game that I went to, 25,000 people, and it was epic.
Nice. That's nice.
It was epic. And I love football games. I love going to games in person because you can feel that crowd and the roars, especially in the Alamo Dome. The Alamo Dome doesn't get enough respect, I think. It's designed for viewing football and even basketball games, and it's designed to capture the crowd and crowd noise. And even when they had 12,000, half that amount, you could still hear the crowd. And they were very responsive. San Antonio is a very smart crowd. I think they're a little hesitant right now because they fell in love with the Commanders in the AAF, and then when that league folded, and then they see the XFL, and the XFL folded twice already. So I think they're a little reluctant, a little hesitant to fall in love with the Brahmas. I do think that they will increase attendance. We've got people who like the Horns Forward podcast, who's been mentioned now, like this will be the third time they've been mentioned, with Jackie Martinez. They do a lot of things. She's Brahmacita 210 if you follow her on Facebook. There's the Brahma Babe, they've got the Brahma Rose, they've got the Mariachi Brahma, so they've got that crowd section. It's section 108. It's right where the players come out. And that's if you want to go and enjoy it and really have a good interaction with the fans, go sit as close to 108 as you can. You know, but as far as covering the game, the second game I got to cover was against Arlington. I was a credentialed member. I'm not going to tell you all that story yet, but I got to go on the field before the game. You know, you walk out of the same tunnel the players walk out of, and you're like looking around. It's like, is somebody going to tell me I shouldn't be here or that I'm not allowed on the field? You know, no, nobody said anything. I went and snuck some pictures because I didn't want to have my camera out taking pictures like a tourist and with the media credential on, but I tried to sneak a couple of pictures. For those of you who've never covered a game, you sit in the press box. I was there for the Arlington game. There was 3 members of the media there from different affiliates, and it was very subdued. You're not allowed to cheer in the press box, you know, and you
don't tell them the secrets.
Yeah, it's being professional. Is you're not allowed
Yep.
to cheer one way or the other. You know, it's being professional. You're showing courtesy to other teams' correspondents. Like if they've got guests that are coming in from the visiting team, you know, you're being respectful. So I preferred to sit in the crowd.
You're honestly not supposed to wear other teams' colors or your own either.
Yeah,
I mean, you should come in there in neutral color, professional. It doesn't have to be a tux, but I mean, you have to look decent when you come in. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there. I'm sorry.
What do you wear when you go?
Typically, I wear a polo shirt and slacks. I mean, that's my typical different dress shoes, stuff like that. Now, my first game in, I wore a nice Houston Roughneck shirt because no one told me that I wasn't supposed to dress like that. So, I mean, that's my experience with that. And, you know, I didn't really know what to expect coming in. So once we actually got there and I'm seeing everyone else, yeah, you switch your role real quick. And I was always an administrative professional, educator and stuff like that. I've always had a dressy, snazzier side. So it was easy for me to tap into that for sure. And even then, it's like, to be honest with you, I felt like I was more dressed up than a lot of people there. And that was fine. Yeah. I dressed to impress. I wanted to be a professional. So that was what I went after. But yeah, my first game in, I had a Roughnecks hat, the one that's on the wall back here. And then also a gray Roughnecks shirt and blue jeans. So I feel you. I just want to throw that out there because that always sticks out in my head looking back. And then, like I said, I went to the Saints game yesterday. You're not wearing blue jeans there. It's not happening. But yeah, I had to share that. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. So viewing the game from multiple perspectives, I really, really enjoyed it being in the crowd. I don't know if I mentioned the bullpen, which is a section that's in one of the end zones where they fold up the seats. So it leaves this large expanse of open area. And I used my media pass. Said, can I go in here before the game? They're like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And they had tables, you know, waist-high tables all along the perimeter. And they're right there where the end zone is. You're literally right on top of the action. They had, you know, a bar. They had food catered. And I was like, if I want to come back, I'm going to sit here from now on to cover the game because I did some of my best work in typing and writing, you know, there. I was truly inspired because I was like, this is the best thing ever.
It sounds like it. Next time I come in, you're going to have to show me that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get to explore much.
And I was, speaking of the football earlier, I was in a Facebook group and we mentioned it. And a lady was like, hey, that was my husband. And she showed me a picture of him with the ball. So I knew it was her. And she said, and also what the Brahmas did is they took somebody out of a regular seat and they put him up in the suite. I don't know if you've ever been in a suite at a football game. It is epic. You have great food, great service, anything you want, eat or drink. And then, of course, the bathroom's right there. You don't have to go, you know, up and then over and fight through the crowd. You know, being in a luxury suite is incredible. And I couldn't get more information on it. I will look into it this season. But things that the San Antonio is doing for their fan experience. I think the bullpen is one. And then also when you take somebody who's, hey, you're sitting in a regular seat, congratulations, you're going to go sit up in a luxury suite now. You know, that is cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
I agree, especially if it's just a surprise. Like, hey, guess what? Upgrade, sir or ma'am.
Exactly.
I feel you. Coming coming from your perspective, let's since we're already on the subject of XFL, I want to get back on you a little bit. I'm going to ask you another question about yourself, but coming from your perspective, do you think that, I mean, fan engagement amongst the XFL, not San Antonio, amongst the XFL, do you feel like it was adequate for this past year or this past season?
For this past season, no. And I understand that everything, and before anybody complains that they don't have this and they don't have that, and XFL needs to do this, XFL needs to do that, everything costs money.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a small budget. And I think I learned that here on this podcast. And I was shocked at how small it was for the entire league.
Mm-hmm. 120 G's.
Yeah, for the entire league. That's 8 teams plus the league themselves. That's
for the advertisement portion. No, and to pay salaries, insurance. I mean, that's not. I don't know if that was all included, but I'm guessing.
So what I'd like to do is use this forum, this podcast, as a way of reaching out to the fans who've already been to the games and be like, hey, what do you like? What do you dislike? What do you think we need to do to engage? Because we're going to have to do some of that work, I feel, as fans ourselves.
Yeah, no doubt.
If we're, I'm in 24 Facebook groups, and I just added Twitter. As much as I am for sharing information and educating our fan base, we're kind of preaching to the choir. We're talking to people who are already fans. We need to reach out to fans of colleges. Hey, that kid from yada yada state, he's playing in the XFL now. What's the XFL? There's an XFL team in this city now. And I think the XFL really needs to push on the price, the cost. You can attend an XFL game for roughly a third to a quarter of what you can in NFL. We as contributors, we as podcasters need to get the word out to other football fans. If you're watching a preseason game, oh, that guy played in the XFL, we're keeping an eye on him, and I posted this, and some people laughed at it and they thought it was funny. Do you think the XFL will improve NFL preseason viewership? And I think it does, and I think it has, because I've seen lots of comments of people following their own team's players. Going back to the Brahmas, I saw somebody had posted they were watching Parker Romo. They were watching the Lions just to watch Parker Romo kick. How many fans watch a whole game that aren't related to that player, that aren't friends with that player, watch a whole preseason game just for one guy to kick? That's the level of enthusiasm that XFL fans have, and they need to share it, and we need to grow this base.
Agreed. So we just talked about the XFL in terms of what you thought and fan engagement, and what do you think? I mean, in terms of being a editor-in-chief contributor to Ambush, what are you bringing to the table in order to facilitate that engagement, or just further get some information out? What do you feel like you're bringing?
On a personal level, I have used many opportunities to talk about the XFL. I almost sound like I'm in a cult. At work, I've got football games on, and I'm like, hey, that player right there played in the XFL. Or I'll tell them, hey, I covered the XFL. Oh, really? What's that like? And we'll just engage in conversation. I really take people's temperature for the XFL. Are you going to like it? You should check it out. This player plays for this, or you remember this kid who played in college? Well, now he's in the XFL. As far as media, I find a lot of subjects. I have lots of ideas, and some of them bear some fruit, and some of them are just like that, just went nowhere. But I try to get stuff out. I try to post things personally on my page, and you're going to see a change in that. Mike Guardiola is my Facebook. I'm also trying to change that to XFL Mike G to be more specific to XFL, because I'm in a lot of groups and I'm trying to organize stuff a little bit better. My Twitter handle is the same, XFL Mike G, and getting this information out. I think we all need to find a way to share that information. If your buddies and let's say with me, I'm a Cowboys fan. I go to a game and I watch a Cowboys game, and we start talking about football. I'm going to find a way to steer it to the XFL. I am. It's just because that's the way I am. I love the XFL as a product. I'm going to say something and people will look at me funny, but out of all of the products of football out there, college, pros, as the NFL, I prefer to watch the XFL as a game more than any other product because of the rules, because of the speed. There's many things. I love the way Dean Blandino is on top of every call. So even though you have that challenge, you're going to save it because they're already going to be on top of it. You don't have to waste your challenge on something that they're already looked at in the booth, And I wish the NFL had that kind of clarity where you can hear the guy who's making the decision, and this is why we're making it.
Yep,
this is
I
what
agree.
the video shows. This is, whereas the NFL, you're watching the game. Why did that call? Why did they say that? Why did they not review it? Or maybe they did and they didn't overturn it. It doesn't mean they didn't review it. There's not as much clarity there.
Yep.
The speed and pace of the game, I really love. People kind of poo-poo on the kickoff. I love the kickoff idea. I coached Little League for many years, and teaching kickoff coverage is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. When you got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12-year-olds, stay in your lane, and then they don't know when to break, and cover, or they want to run to the ball, and then of course that running back reverses field and he's gone. So, and the safety of it, when you guys are 5 yards apart, you're not running full speed. You don't have a 40, 50, 60-yard head start to run head first into somebody else. It is safer, and I think it makes returns more exciting because more guys are going to return the ball. That means more potential for a kickoff return. So I love the product as it is. I think some of the rules should be adopted in the NFL. I don't want to expound too much on that right now, but that's something that we're looking at. It's a better product. To me, it's my favorite because sometimes in the fall you kind of get bogged down in a game. You kind of get lulled a little bit, and that doesn't happen in the XFL. It's go constantly. You just scored, now we're going to score. Even and like I said in that first game against St. Louis, there was very little time for us to go, okay, we got the lead, we can rest here for a second. No, they just scored. Now they're going 4th and long to get the ball back, and they drove the ball down the field. It's constant, and I love it because it keeps your interest.
Understood. So basically what I'm getting is what you're bringing to the table is you're a super fan. You've got some avid experience in being a fan, and you know what's going to make the XFL tick in terms of what you like. So you feel like a lot of what you're bringing is information, realistic opinions, facts, news, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's I don't want to call myself an expert. I don't like saying that because everybody knows
the same
something
way.
about something.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I agree.
But my passion for the game of football, plus the nerd in me, plus every aspect, I love this game, and I love the XFL brand. So I'm going to dedicate my time to improving it, to getting the word out on it, and what I'm going to bring is everything I've got to make it better, to make it known. Because I would love for this league to succeed. I see it becoming profitable down the road, but I also understand like expansion. We can't do expansion right now because new teams cost money. So we've got to work some things out. And that's one of the pieces that I'm working on is a realistic path to doing some of these things like expansion. Yeah, everybody's screaming expansion, but it costs money. And we need to get butts in seats to have that money to expand. It's that simple.
Agreed. I think your concepts are fair and valid. A lot of the engagement was on Facebook, and fans like yourself and even myself last year was rolling on them groups and discussions, whether it's posting news, posting articles, posting pictures, discussion topics, questions, trying to find out information. I mean, that's where a lot of what you saw in terms of engagement for the league was coming from, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's us. I'd throw you in here too. I think you're a super fan, and it's us super
No, no
fans
doubt.
that are building the base. You know, we got guys like Mike Mitchell. Well, Mike Mitchell's going to be Adam Schefter. You know, he's going to be that dude. So I started following him. I thoroughly enjoyed your interview with him. You know, and also with your podcast, you're talking to fans, like regular fans who've been in the stands, who have a good and valid opinion about how we can succeed and continue to grow. That's why I kind of joined you, because we'd worked together at Ambush, and I like where you're going. So that's why I'm throwing in with you, because I think we're a lot alike. So my purpose is to help you to help the league.
Hey, great, man. I've appreciated you very much so far. So I'll say it publicly. Thank you. I look forward to what we create further down the line, or even like next episode. Any of the small details you definitely assist with. So I appreciate that. And same thing for the other guys, Avion, DeMarcus, Jesse. I mean, everybody's got a piece of the pie that they're helping with. So let's keep it up. Now, when I say that, just keep in mind, everybody is individuals. They make their own decisions. They're doing their own thing. They may be part of the team, but I mean, until they're on the show, or like Mike's doing, I mean, he's working this thing every day with the contributors. I mean, that's pretty impactful. So appreciate you greatly, Mike, coming on, and I'm excited. And it's just nice to have a team. It's nice to have people to fall back on and ask questions and get information. And I know dealing with you as well, you're very frank, and me and you, we get along on that. We're not sugarcoating our emotions all the time.
Yeah, too
You'll
frank
see.
sometimes, but
Yeah, it's okay. You'll see a lot of the guys in the XFL community, whether it be newscasters or even fans, players, potential players, any of that. It's all that. Everyone is pretty much down to earth and humble. Most people aren't doing it just to hear themselves talk, and that's what I love about this community so far. Almost every single person I've engaged about an interview or content, I mean, they're willing to, and they're more than willing to. They're helpful, and so there's been a few bad eggs along the way, but for the most part, it's been great. And so I look forward to getting you on, man, getting you some more experience with it, and then next year, once the games kick up, you covering those games and getting your feedback on that also.
yeah, I'm excited. I am trying to contain my excitement because I see so many avenues and venues that we can explore from the podcast perspective, from fan perspective, from contributors perspective. Like I said, I like to look at things from a different angle, under a different light, and kind of be realistic, you know, on how we can further the league, how we can get more people into these venues, how we can expand the exposure, you know. And I'm going to throw it back on you a little bit. You covered Mr. Franklin out there in New Orleans, who was a roughneck.
Yep,
You know,
yep.
when he was injured, and I kid you not, and I'm not just saying this, when he was injured, the entire league felt that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were concerned for him. You know, they're like, you know, usually when a good player goes down on a rival team, you know, there's not much sympathy or mercy. You know, in the XFL, there was love. There was love for him, and everybody's pulling for him now with the Saints. And I really hope. I think he can make that team. I think he could be a contributor. I think he's shown that. You know,
Yep.
and if he gives some love back to the XFL, and just by acknowledging it, people are gonna be like, "What's the XFL?" You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we're here for, to give them our knowledge and our area of expertise.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Totally agree with that. And then even with, like you said, the super fan portion, I mean, that's what got me involved in this. When you take that media step, it's definitely a different step,
Yeah.
but you don't become an expert. You don't become an analyst. That's stuff you're working towards. And that I feel like comes from the peers that you're around, the people that you're working with, the people that you're interviewing. I mean, so I agree with that statement. I don't feel like I'm an expert in it. I feel like I'm just a avid fan who is learning to become an expert, and that's fine with me. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. I think us both that's what brought us to doing the things we're doing, was being fans. And it's very important to remember that as this journey continues, to not lose sight of that as being a true fan. That's why I brought Kenneth on the other day. I mean, we haven't had a fan on in a couple months, and I had to get him on just because I value his opinion. I value his knowledge. I value his experiences. It's all stuff that I can't do being a media person. So, I mean, it's cool. And I look forward to it, Mike. I can't wait to see what we produce.
I'm excited as well. Nervous, but excited.
Took a while to get you on.
Yeah. And I'm not ready to be live yet. I'm going to let you edit this down and make me look good. But,
yeah, this is pre-recorded. What's today? Today's August 14th, 2023. So this probably won't drop until August 20th at the end of that live stream. So guys at home listening, this is pre-recorded.
I've got to personally approve it, all your edits before I will allow you to put it out there. No, just kidding. But
oh man,
yeah, I am nervous because it's one thing to have an opinion about anything, but to speak knowledgeably on it, and in social media, people will call you out if you're saying something that is not correct. People will call you out, and people will gleefully call you out.
Yep.
So I try to be knowledgeable in what I'm saying, so I don't get called out. But
yeah, and it's always important to credit those sources. I just want to throw that out.
Yeah.
I know you do, and I do too. But I mean, if as an individual or a sports broadcaster, content creator, credit your sources, people. Quit taking people's stuff. And I'm not even talking about my stuff. I don't put out, I try to do original content in terms of the podcast, some writings. But if you're finding out some breaking news information, credit the man who did it, who released it first, or the XFL, anybody, something. I just want to throw that out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, totally agree. I personally, if I'm sharing something I see on social media, I will share the whole thing, and it'll say, it'll framed up and so-and-so posted this information. So I'm sharing their post. I'm not taking their content and posting it as myself as some kind of insider or breaking news.
Exactly.
I would rather be right than be first. So if it's coming from me, it's backed up somewhere. Because, social media, I will call people out. If you recognize my name, I have no problem calling people out if they're wrong. So I expect the same in return. So that's why I'm going to work not to be wrong.
Understood. Well, Mike, that's about it. We've been on here for 30 minutes or so, probably upwards around 40 minutes, close to it. Yeah. But unless you have anything else you want to share, man, I'm going to put all your socials, your Twitter's not, it may be. Your socials in the notes. You can say those again. If you have anything coming out in terms of documents or articles, just make sure to tell people. I always say this is an audio podcast as well, and I try to not forget about the folks that just listen to the audio versions because they're still around also.
I don't have anything to add except, when you see my comment and you're reading it, and you say, "Oh, there's Mike." Just be like, "That's Mike. That's the Mike." That's
old Mike right there. Yeah. It's been great, man. Like I said, we sat on here for 2 hours talking, just conversating.
Yeah. And we should have recorded that because that was some really good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if we can put that on air, sir.
Well, you can edit it down,
Try to keep it PG-13 around here as much as possible. So yeah, guys, check him out on Ambush. He's got some writings out there. He's an author, writer. He did it last year during the season. He's got some good publications out. Check him out. ambushsports.net. Isn't that correct, Mike?
I believe that's correct.
Okay, just making sure. But yeah, check him out. Appreciate you, Mike, coming on. It's been fantastic touching base, talking with you. We've just been talking like guys for 2 or 3 hours straight.
Yeah.
Guys
at home, we should have recorded.
Go ahead.
We should have recorded some of it, but like our previous conversations. We always have good conversations. I think that's why we work so well together. You know, we kind of think along the same lines, and it's good stuff. He's dragged me on to the podcast. I'm recorded right now, but maybe I'll be live. If enough people respond positively, then maybe I could jump on. Well, I'm the complete opposite. Some people want to be on the podcast. I'm reluctant to be on the podcast, but I will do it if the fans want it.
There we go. That's what it comes down to. So regardless, like I said, check for Mike in the background. He's definitely putting some stuff out and making some leaps and strides amongst the show that I couldn't do alone. So thank you, Mike. If you need anything from me, you reach out anytime. Guys at home, if you need anything from him, reach out to him also. Add him, follow him, share him, to do whatever you need to just getting close and get in touch with him. Like I said, he's still an individual. He's going to be doing his own thing. He's just helping me out on the side, just providing some good management and content management. So thank you again, Mike. Look forward to the future with you, man, and what you're bringing to the table.
All right. Well, it was good working with you again.
You too, man. We'll see you again soon, sir. Mike, so good to see you, man. Finally made it.